Greetings. So yesterday morning, there was a show on Berean TV in which Berean read a message he had received from our beloved friend, the good doctor, over at the We Woke Now channel. And I thought the message was interesting, so I wanted to offer a brief comment. Now, in the interest of time, let's just jump right in, right? This will pick up at just before the 39-minute mark.
Read this. Listen to this, y'all. Blessings. How are you doing, Brother Berean? Not sure if you saw this video. Vocab and Abu have been playing this video of me saying that I can't read the Hebrew on the pews, and yet Vocab cannot read Hebrew. I text Vocab also, so nobody talking about all the egg could be on the table. Oh, fervent charity right there. Good morning. Shalom. I wish that there was another channel where Christians can call and say, yo, I got beef. I heard this coming from the camps. I heard some people saying such and such. What do you think about that? Well, would you put it on the table? Blessings, Berean. How's it going, Brother Berean? Not sure if you saw this video. Vocab and Abu have been playing this video of me saying that I can't read Hebrew on the pews, yet Vocab cannot read Hebrew. I can read both ancient and modern Hebrew. Thought I'd bring this to your attention. That was sent to me.
Okay, so the first thing to consider is this complaint that Vocab Malone had allegedly said that the good doctor can't read Hebrew. Now, honestly, our friend might not be representing what was said in the most accurate way. So in the interest of clarity, in the interest of acquiring a bit more, achieving, perhaps we could say, a bit more accuracy, I'd like to jump over to another show from Berean TV, this one having aired a couple of years ago, and it's the show you see on your screen. We're going to pick this up at the 2-hour, 13-minute mark.
And you said to Sister E, you can't read what's on the pews. We played the clip in the video, so I don't know why it's slanderous for us to literally repeat your own words, because if you can read Hebrew and the pews are in Hebrew, by a logical consequence, you should be able to read the Hebrew on the pews if it's Hebrew.
So as I hope one could see there, the issue was not so much a question of the good doctor's knowledge of Hebrew. Rather, it was a question of whether Hebrew actually appears on the pews. Consider that not only does our friend claim to know Hebrew, but so too he claims to have seen all the pews, which would include many pews that others, a great many others, have not seen. Therefore, if we take the good doctor at his word, at the very least, the fact that no clear, coherent Hebrew has ever been shown might strike some as grounds for, I don't know, perhaps a little bit of doubt regarding whether Hebrew actually appears on those markings. I don't know. But now that that's been clarified, now that what Vocab actually said has been clarified, we could stop this video here. However, on the other hand, I must confess, I found that declaration that Vocab doesn't know Hebrew, but the good doctor does, a bit unfortunate.
Vocab cannot read Hebrew. I can read both ancient and modern Hebrew.
So that's the kind of fight it's going to be.
Since the good doctor apparently wanted to put that on the table, perhaps we might explore it sometime soon. But first, before we do so, let me share a quick scenario. As you surely know, different scripts are written in different directions, right? For example, the Latin script is written from left to right, while the Arabic script is written from right to left. And sometimes a computer program, which is typically used for one script, might reverse the direction of a different script. So let's consider an example. Suppose you wanted to put the Arabic equivalent of the phrase God is great on the screen. So you find the relevant text and you copy and paste it into your program, and there you have it. Allahu Akbar, right? But imagine that because you typically use that particular program for the Latin script, let's say you use it for English, the program accidentally reverses the direction of the Arabic text, and thus it comes out backwards. Now, if this happened to you and you were familiar with the relevant Arabic phrase, you should immediately notice that it's backwards. But suppose it happened to someone else. Suppose there's a person who claims to be able to read Arabic, and suppose that person is even familiar with the sounds that the Arabic characters represent. And suppose they even know that what has been copied and pasted on the screen is supposed to be the Arabic equivalent of God is great, or God is greater, or God is the greatest, right? But imagine they don't notice that it's backwards. Imagine they just point to the screen and say something like, quote, and here we have the Arabic for God is the greatest. It's Rabka Halala. End quote, right? That would be awkward, right? If that happened, it might be a hint that the person was bluffing about their ability to read Arabic. But maybe that scenario is a little bit too abstract for some, so let's consider a corresponding English analogy. Imagine you're watching someone discuss English vocabulary, but imagine they're discussing it in another language, right? For example, imagine you're watching someone have a discussion in Arabic, but they're discussing English vocabulary. And imagine he gets to the point where he wants to discuss English's word for a young cat or a baby cat. Now, you know that the relevant word is kitten, and the man giving the presentation attempts to put the English word kitten on the screen. But his program reverses the direction of the text, and it winds up coming out backwards. Now, imagine the guy says in his language that this is the English word for a young cat, and then he reads it aloud, saying, nettik. What would you think at that moment? Might the fact that the man didn't notice the word was backwards cause you to develop some doubts about the gentleman's familiarity with English? Now, truth be told, when we're discussing this phenomenon, we don't have to limit ourselves to abstract scenarios. Rather, we have real-world examples. Some of you may already be familiar with this video on the Akwetey Amaah channel, titled Erhverhs, not Hebrews. About 2 minutes and 45 seconds into the video, the narrator attempted to explain how the Hebrew word for Hebrew, Ibri, is spelled in Hebrew. Unfortunately, he was unaware that the text he was using was backwards due to the direction being reversed by whatever program. And so let's watch this brief clip, and fair use.
The word rendered as Hebrew here is spelled Yud Resh Beit Ayin. In English, you will spell this Ivri, and it's pronounced Erhverh.
Now, I have previously offered the guess that the gentleman in that clip, Akwetey Amaah, had merely copied the text from Mawuli Mawuvi's book, The Call to the Hebrews, as that's a book which Akwetey Amaah has referenced in the past, and that book accidentally has the Hebrew text printed backward. Sometime later, Mawuvi himself confirmed that Mr. Amaah indeed took such from his book. Now, as a disclaimer, I want to say that there's no shame in Mr. Amaah not being familiar with Hebrew at the time that video was filmed. It was somewhat noteworthy because others were claiming on his behalf, others were claiming on the internet, that he had been fluent in Hebrew his whole life, right? As if it was his first language. So pointing such out could serve as a response to them, to those folks. But this never should have been considered a jab at the man himself, as as far as I know, I don't recall ever hearing him make such claims about himself. Rather, again, it was certain, perhaps overzealous fans who were making that claim on his behalf. But, if we can step away from that segue, I realize that now, at this point, one might be thinking, wait, what does this have to do with our friend, the good doctor over at the We Woke Now channel? Well, I'd like to take a quick look at a clip from this video here, a show on the We Woke Now channel titled Late Night Playbook. Is the Holy Spirit feminine? What is the Holy Spirit? In this clip, which I'm about to show, our friend is going to put two Hebrew words on the screen, though he puts them in the Phoenician script because he's trying to capture a sense of the ancient Hebrew. Now, those words are ob and met. Ob might mean spirit, or even might be used to refer to one who communicates with spirits, like a necromancer, while met means dead. However, our friend is a proponent of Lashon Kodash, a system which reduces most Hebrew pronunciation almost entirely to A-class vowels, and therefore he would pronounce these words awab and math, or at least he would do so in instances where they're facing in the right direction. But in the clip we're about to look at, the direction of the text is reversed. Now, one would hope that the good doctor's familiarity with these words and his familiarity with the Hebrew language would immediately alert him to the reversal of the direction of the text. But does that happen? Well, let's see how it actually went. So we're going to pick this up a little after the 1 hour, 2 minute mark. Fair use.
Okay, so chapter 8, verse 21 and 22. Let's see what it says real quick, and we'll tie this in. And another of his disciples said unto him, Adonaiah, suffer me first to go and bury my father. But Yahweh Jesus the Christ said unto him, follow me and let the what? Dead, right? Bury the dead. Let the dead, bawa, bury the dead. Tham. Let the dead bury the dead.
So the text was backwards, and our friend didn't notice. Somewhat similar to Akwetey Amaah, our friend just recited the sounds in the direction the letters appeared. Now, do you remember that analogy with the word kitten being backwards? If you came across that, you would recognize that it was backwards, right? Only someone with a very shallow familiarity with the English language would think that the word is pronounced nittek. And one who did read it aloud that way could be thought of as just mechanically, robotically going through the sounds. But surely we can agree that sounding out the letters is not the same as reading. Food for thought. On that note, I'll close this video here, and I hope you found this brief video interesting. As always, I look forward to the comments of others, so share your thoughts, whether positive or negative. And with that, God bless.
This sister right here, Pastor Kelly, this is Stephanie, was around for a minute. She was around when all of this stuff jumped off. Can you answer this question for her here?
Can you read Hebrew? Absolutely, I can read Hebrew.
Talking to you, yeah. I think
she asked me the question. I can read Hebrew, but what I